all know my schedule by now. That's why that 4-minute video should not be surprising to anyone who's been following my page for any amount of time. I'm basically on call. I'm not on call, but they treat me like I'm on call at my job. So the phone rings and I jump up and I answer the phone. I forgot what I was saying in live number one, but I'll just start over. Happy Monday. I did mention that I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but it's nothing terrible. I just went to the doctor. I think I mentioned that I started to feel like I'm prioritizing taking care of people for my job over taking care of myself. And that equation just doesn't work for me because I am, number one, I am not willing anymore to ignore my personal needs in order to serve the company. Like, it just doesn't make any sense for me to do that, and that's what I have been doing for the last several months. Oh, Mark, you haven't done enough of this, you haven't done enough of that. I had this skin condition that thankfully is now resolved because I decided one morning enough is enough. Like, this thing is significantly bothering me. I had this really bad rash and it was just itching me non-stop, and I'm like, I can't find a time to go to the doctor. And then I was like, you know what do you mean you can't find a time to go to the doctor? I'll cancel a whole day to get to that doctor. And that's actually what I did. I was like, I'm not going into work this day just to make sure that there's nothing that's going to stop me from going to this doctor. So I went to the doctor. They gave me a prescription. They told me what the cause. I found out what the cause of the rash was. It was a combination of things. Environmental factors and stress both played into it. And I got that taken care of, and now that's out of the equation. Now, secondly, I had this toe injury that I got in July, and I did go to the doctor for it, but it's still almost in the same amount of pain that it was in when it first happened in July. So I was like, I need to go back to the doctor. So this morning I said, I don't really care what I have on my schedule. It's all getting canceled, which it did. I canceled everything on my schedule. And I went to the doctor. I mean, the doctor gave me information that I needed. But the funny thing is, the information was just like, Mark, did you immobilize the injury? No. The answer is no, I did not immobilize the injury. So that's, I mean, the first doctor that I saw was, I think, at an urgent care. So y'all know the urgent care is just, their job is just to tell you, is something broken? Is it not broken? Like, we x-rayed it. Nothing is broken on the x-ray, so follow up with your doctor. If it's muscle tissue, anything like that, they're not going to do anything with that unless it's some kind of an emergency where they're going to do the MRI without pushing it through the building. But yeah, that urgent care doctor didn't tell me much. I never followed up with another doctor, and I've been walking around with the pain. Hi Vicky and hi Charicity. So it made me think about something. I'm somebody who's always had a high pain tolerance. I've had a very high pain tolerance. I played sports my whole childhood and my early adult life. I still do athletic things, but I don't do sports per se. Sports is a different animal that I realized at a certain point, unless I found one of those leagues, like an adult church basketball league or something, for where the pace of everything is a little slower than your regular leagues. with the young people, the 20-year-olds and stuff that can run circles around you and grind out your body. I can't do one of those leagues anymore. I'm just not. I could hang in one of those leagues, but it's just not worth it to my body because the pain that I feel after those games is just not worth it. But anyways, my point is, when I was younger, I did all these sports and I got all these injuries, and I would never even tell anybody that I would have an injury. I'd feel the injury and I would just test it out. Can I keep walking? Can I still move? Oh, my back is injured. Cool. Can I still run? Can I still twist? Yes. Okay. Was my childhood and into my early adulthood. So because of that high pain tolerance, people didn't even know when I was in pain most of the time. I remember the first time I broke a bone in my foot. The first time I broke a bone, I broke a bone in my right foot, I think was the first one. And because of my pain tolerance being so high, and I was not somebody who would scream and cry about that broken bone, I still remember my dad telling me, let me see you walk. And I walked. I winced and I limped, but I actually walked on this broken foot. And he was like, oh, okay, well, you can walk on it. Another person might have taken that first step and tears would have come out of their eyes. They would have been crying. The only time that I ever cried over pain, over physical pain ever, was when I got my tonsils taken out. And it wasn't even the pain of the tonsils being taken out, because that was a lot. I mean, the pain after it was out, because I was asleep, obviously, for the surgery. But it wasn't even that pain when I woke up that made me cry. It was, they were like, before you leave, you have to drink this cup of ice chips so that we can see that you can swallow the ice chips to make sure that everything went well with the surgery. So I was like, okay. I remember I took like a little sip. It wasn't a cry like, ah. It was like one of those cries where the pain was so intense that I wasn't even making a face, and the tears, it was like dry. It wasn't dry tears. It was like, you know, that single tear just goes down your cheek because something is so painful. Like it was just like an automatic response that my face was having to the amount of pain that I felt trying to drink that little cup of ice chips. Like, so anyways, it made me think of a deeper thing. I get on this page, and not even just on this page, I talk to people about the different things that are happening in my life, at my job, and I'm talking about those things real casually, like, this is happening to me, that's happening to me, this is happening to me, and that's happening to me. And the things I'm talking about are not happening to most people. They're not happening to my colleagues. They're not happening to my friends. They're not happening to my family members. They can't even relate. They can't even relate to what I'm telling them. Oh, I'm sorry that's happened to you. Like, have you tried positivity? You know, turn that frown upside down. You know, have you attempted to just have a conversation with this person? I'm like, if this person is trying to make my life miserable, it's not anything to do with me, my communication style. It's not like, oh, you need to learn how to just finesse this and speak to them nice. It's nothing to do with any of that. It's just literally I'm being treated poorly. And I was saying to myself, my ability to tolerate pain makes people comfortable with dishing it out. My ability to tolerate pain and not say anything makes people comfortable with dishing it out. So that's why I've come to this point that I'm at in my life where people are like, Mark, maybe you should let this thing go. Maybe you should let that thing go. The more things that I let go is the more things that they're going to do. It's a matter of principle, and it's a matter of advocating for yourself and standing up for yourself. Because if someone says, I'm going to do this thing on purpose to make you feel bad or to give you extra work or to have some kind of passive aggressive reaction to the fact that I don't like you, and I sit there and I say, you know what, I don't want to cause any kind of waves, I don't want to make waves with anybody, so I'm just gonna do what I'm told and let it go. Oh, well, we got him to do it this time, so next time I know that's the person that I can mess with. Just because you can tolerate more than the average person doesn't mean you should. My daughter rolled her ankle on a trampoline. Didn't see the doctor for a month now. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. There was a time, especially when it comes to injuries, like the rash that I had, I left that because I was trying alternative methods because I've had skin issues in the past and I found natural remedies for that, so I tried to use those same natural remedies and it didn't work out. But when it comes to something like an injury, because of my injury history and things that I've had to deal with permanently because of not getting them taken care of, I'll go immediately to the doctor. Even this one, I did go to the doctor. It's just that the doctor gave me a really light prognosis. Oh, 2 to 4 weeks, Motrin, whatever, and you'll be good to go, no problem. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not a big deal. And then finally go to the podiatrist, and it is a pretty big deal. It's not the worst thing, because he told me that I have a lot of ability to mitigate this with my toe. It's a condition, so it's not something that is going to ever be 100%, but he said there's a lot of options that I can do before surgery is an option. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Not wanting to... That part I understand fully, though. Not wanting to miss work. That was the reason why I waited. Not wanting to miss work, but I thought about it. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I don't care if I miss work. I don't care if I miss work unpaid. Like, let's say all of my PTO gets used up and I have an emergency cause for being off. I'm going to take the time off because the job is going to be there. No matter how much they make you feel like it's so dire, whether you're there or not. Yeah, they benefit from you being there, but the job is going to be the job. Whether you are at the job or whether you are not at the job, they're going to keep going. They're going to keep moving, because what's going to happen? What happens if you die tomorrow? Like, I'm not trying to sound bleak, but what happens if you were supposed to be into work and you die? What happens? Is the job still going to keep going, or are they going to be like, well, Mark is not at this job anymore, so let's shut down the company? No, the company is not going to shut down. They probably have people right now that are being interviewed for my position. Because a job is, I learned this over the years, a job is always going to have a stash of people. Like in my job, in my last job, or one of my last jobs, I remember they got me really upset. I think I gave this story before where they asked me to do coverage for another clinic where somebody walked off on the clinic. And they were basically like, we're screwed here. We need somebody immediately. So they asked me, can you do a couple of days? Can you do a couple of days here just to cover until we get the replacement for that guy? And they told me that would take about 4 to 6 weeks at the maximum, and I did that. And the other location that I was covering for was so far out of my way. The location that I was hired for was a 10-minute drive, and the location I was covering was like an hour and 15 to an hour and a half, depending on the traffic. So I remember telling them, hey, I've been here for this much time. Hi, Marshall. I've been there for this much time now, and now it's a huge inconvenience for me. So if you want me to continue, I require to get something more, like a more salary, more gas money, or some gas money, because they didn't pay any gas money for this job. Like, something has to change. Otherwise, y'all are taking advantage of me. So then they give me a thing like, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I just have to remind you that flexibility is one of the core company values, and thank you for demonstrating that. Basically it's like it's next man up. If we need a whole field, you got to plug that. That's basically what they were trying to tell me, and we don't have to give you anything extra for that. So it's like, okay, I'm the type of person who you think that you won in that moment by telling me something like that, but you don't win, because that means I'm going to be looking for another job where I'm treated fairly, as is pretty much the case of what's about to happen now. So I remember I didn't give them any warning, of course, and I walked into work one day. I sent in my letter to HR first, then I reached out to my management. I said, hey, I'm just letting you know, thank you for the opportunity that you gave me with this company. I am resigning. My last date of employment. Oh, this guy just got pulled over. Looks like a state trooper too. My last date of employment is going to this day, which was 2 weeks. I think it was even a little less than 2 weeks from then. So what is happening over here? Yeah. Anyways, I said my last date of employment is such and such a date. So I'm thinking to myself, haha, they're screwed, because now they don't have anyone at that location and they have nobody to replace me. I walked into work 2 days. Are you listening to me? 2 days after giving them my letter of resignation, I walked in. My manager was like, can you please come to my office? Came to her office. She said, such and such a guy is in office today because he's a new hire and he's going to be doing your position, and we want you to do the best that you can to train him so that we have a seamless transition. Now, let me tell you how mind-blowing that particular thing was. I was asking them when this replacement was going to come for me so that I could go back to my original location full-time instead of splitting between the two locations. They were saying, oh, it's not that easy to hire. We're diligently trying every day. We have a lot of people but it's not working out. They're not meeting the requirements, or they're saying yes and they're backing out, this and that. But how convenient that 2 days after I say I'm leaving the company, you have a replacement for me at both locations. They had a replacement for me at the location that I was covering for, and they had a replacement for me at my original locations. So listen to what I'm telling you. They had 2 employees on deck to fill my spot, and it wasn't like they were part-time employees either. 2 full-time employees, one at my original location and one at the new location, that they suddenly just had. So that's when I realized they had a roster of people to potentially fill my spot in case I left. But they were doing the 2-for-1 special. We're paying 1 employee that is managing 2 caseloads in 2 offices. So that's why I say, man, you know that meme that floats around that says, if you die today, your job will be online faster than your obituary? It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's the truth. It's the truth. There might be people within an organization, like you form and develop friendships, relationships with people within your organization. There might be people who care about you on a personal level in terms of like if you were gone, they're going to be sad about it, right? But in terms of from a business standpoint, you are going to be replaced so fast. They just want the business to keep running. You're just a body in there. Next up, next man up, next man or woman up. You know, like we have people that we're perpetually interviewing. So now we got to pick one out of those. I don't care how many thank you for the wonderful job you do that they give you. I don't care how many recognition awards that they pass along your way. It might mean something on a personal level. Like I have a couple of awards right now that they gave me at this end of year function that we had, but it doesn't move me like that. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't move me. You can't treat me poorly for a year and then give me a certificate and then I'm like, oh wow, that means that you value me. No, it doesn't. It just means that you're doing the bare minimum to try to finesse this situation. You're doing the very barest of minimums. Company loyalty. When I first came into the workforce, I came in with what my parents taught me. Get yourself in with a company and stay with that company for whatever, 30 years, 40 years, whatever it takes to retire. And then from there, which way am I going? Oh, yeah, 30, 40 years, whatever it takes to retire, get your pension, your 401k, yada, yada. That was what my parents instilled in me, and that was my goal. That is what I wanted to do within the workforce. And I've been abused at work. And I'm not trying to exaggerate. When I say abused, I don't mean like nobody has physically harmed me or nobody has been like cursing me out and that type of thing. But when I say abused, I mean it maybe in a little bit of a lighter way than it sounds, but still, to me, it's a form of abuse. To be gaslit and to be lied on and to be promised things, and the people who promise them have no intention of keeping those promises, to have a job responsibility switch on you big time to say this is what you signed up for. You even get paperwork that shows what you signed up for, and then once you started the job, they say, as discussed in your interview, you're going to be doing this, this, and this, and this, and this. And you're like, what interview was that? Because I don't remember being a part of that interview. But gaslighting me to make me feel like that conversation took place, and I just don't remember it. When I remember it very well. To be at places where I'm actually doing my best, working hard, and to have been given write-ups for ridiculous things. Like at my last company, I remember we had a blizzard, and I said to my manager, we had a requirement that we had to keep our teams active all day, our Microsoft Teams active all day, unless we were having our lunch break, in which case we had to put that on our calendar, lunch break this time to this time, and put our status as out of office or away from our desk or whatever. And I said to the boss, my Teams is going to be away at some points of today because we have a blizzard and I have stairs to shovel. So the snow is coming down and we don't want to get blocked in, so I got to shovel the stairs all day, and it's not going to take less than 15 minutes for me to clear the stairs in the driveway. She says, okay. Then I go outside. At one point, it takes me like 30 minutes to shovel the snow. I come back. I'm getting written up because I went AWOL. I said, AWOL? What are you talking about? So, I mean, I can give you a whole laundry list of things. That's not really the point. It's just the point that I'm trying to make is that these things that I have experienced that are injustices are not things that I have to sit and experience just because I have broad shoulders. Keep your swivel for a better job. Just because you have broad shoulders doesn't mean that you should tolerate that kind of treatment. If you don't stand up for yourself, especially this especially applies for that person who is looked at as strong. Oh, he or she can take it. If you're looked at as that person, you're going to receive more. Because there's people at my job that they coddle those people. If they do anything right, they have a party for them. You did an excellent job. If I had a goal to do 100 things, and I accomplished 99 of them, and one of them I fell short, we're going to be in a meeting talking about how terrible of a job that I'm doing. And that's not right. Two things that I am known to do. I'm going to speak up, and if speaking up does not make a difference, I'm going to leave. Point blank, period. I'm going to speak up, and if speaking up does not make any difference to my situation, I'm going to exit. Sorry about that. How's it going? Good. I'm still a little sick. Get myself a pizza slice. No recognition for a job well done.
Yes, sir.
What'd you get? Hi, how are you? Can I get one of those slices right here? Yeah. Yes. To go. We got this pizza place is lit. I love those kind of pizza places. You're held to a different expectation. And it's just like, if you think about, I have some more examples. If you think about two siblings, one is known as the responsible one, and the other one is known as the one that is irresponsible. The one that is responsible is going to be given the extra responsibilities. And the one that is irresponsible is not going to be expected. The parents are going to be like, you know what? This person, I can't count on them, so I'm not going to ask them to be the one that's in charge of this, or to be the mature one in the argument that you have with your sibling, because, you know, like, that's just not you, so I'm not going to ask you that. Yeah, I always support small businesses. Would I consider this a small business? I guess I would. Because this is not a franchise, so yeah, this would qualify. I'm big on small businesses, even if I have to pay more money for whatever it is that they're providing me. Although a lot of my small businesses that I used to support closed. What time is it? I have about 2 hours before my next visit, so once I get this slice, I'm probably gonna eat it and watch some TV while I eat it, and I'm gonna do some calls and notes, and then from there, yeah, I'm gonna do some calls and notes, and then from there I'm gonna head back out to the car. But yeah, that's all. That was my message that I was trying to say earlier. Just because you can take it doesn't mean you should. For the strong person who's taking it because you are able to, you shouldn't have to take it just because you're able to. It's like, I always like using sports analogies. So I remember Shaq when he was playing in the NBA. He was so big and strong. So people would jump on his back, whack his arm, push him. But if you are 7'1", 350 pounds, somebody whacks you or pushes you, you're not really gonna move. So it's not gonna look like anything. So it got to the point where he had to keep advocating for himself and Phil Jackson and whatever coaches that he had. It's like, just because they can't move him the same way that they can move other people does not mean that it's not a foul. If you dig where I'm going with that analogy, just because you can't break me in the same way that you can break another person does not mean that you're not wronging me. I don't know if wronging is a word, but that's all. Set those boundaries. Let people know that it's not okay, and if none of that works, leave. Everything in life is optional. Even where you're located, where you're working, who you're staying with, all that stuff is optional. So do what you got to do with that. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will talk maybe later. We'll see.
Okay, sir.
Okay.